Hello and welcome. This is Gunner, and we're back with some more of The Long Journey Home. In the last video, I did an introduction of the game, and we went through the tutorial. Now we're into the game itself, and there are some things that I did not cover in that first video that I am going to now go over. So, one thing that we picked up when we jumped in was an injury, and that's a concussion to our corporate manager. And the injuries fill these 5 slots. So you see every character has 5 slots. Each injury you accumulate with any crew member will fill one of these slots until those slots are full. Once all 5 slots are full, that crew member is dead. Now, as far as I understand, the injuries themselves don't really cause any effects necessarily, although there are special cases. A lot of it may depend upon how you got the injury, and there is a number of special injuries that I have encountered. We do have a medical kit, and you will see by the symbols under the medical kit all of the maladies that you can treat. So most of these are going to be pretty standard injuries, cuts, burns, concussions being one of them. So we can see the symbol for concussion underneath our corporate manager also matches up on our medical kit. Now I could use this medical kit and I could treat him, and that would go away. But this is a one-use item. Once I use it, it is gone. These are all consumables. So I do have to keep that in mind. And there is going to be some things that this medical kit cannot treat. Although we do see a lot of icons here, there are injuries that are you're going to encounter that will not be able to be treated by this medical kit. But for now, we're going to keep it around in case somebody gets more than one injury. I actually don't know if this only heals one injury or it heals multiple. If it heals multiple, it's probably advisable to keep it around for somebody once they've accumulated, let's say, 3 injuries. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back in here. And right now we're in the encounter mode. This is another thing that we didn't see in the tutorial, but I did reference it when I was looking through the menu options. So the encounter mode is where I think this game follows the Sid Meier's Pirates gameplay. So, like Sid Meier's Pirates, you have 2 modes of operation. You have your navigation mode, which we've already seen, and then you have your combat mode, or encounter mode as they call it here. We're going to have more direct control over your ship. This is where we can also engage in combat. So I can draw up my weapons here by holding in the X button, and my shields come up. And I also can attack. Now, again, Sid Meier's, the weapons that I have right now, which I guess are pretty much mining lasers, fire and broadside. So I'm going to fire with a full broadside now. And there's my broadside. Now I'm going to have to wait for it to fully recharge to get a full broadside. If I fire continuously, after a point, I'll only be firing just a little bit of a shot. I have to wait until it fully recharges. So it does take a little bit of time. But you could see that a full salvo there, pretty good. Now it can be tricky to line up your weapons fire on any targets that you may want to hit, but that's just another element of the learning curve of this game. Ooh, and we also have to avoid collisions with debris. I didn't see that bit of debris, and it looks like it hit us twice. So, whoopsie. So clearly, running into debris does damage to your ship. Try and avoid that. Controls remain the same as it did on the navigation screen. So, A is going to be my thrust. There is no boost. Instead, the right trigger is going to be used for leaving, which again, you use A and right trigger together, just like you would for a jump, to actually leave. The main real difference is your weapons and the mechanic of that. And also, your Y button is going to hail, but we'll see that if we get in an encounter with any things that we could hail. They were coming back into the comm mode. Malcolm is going out. This is Malcolm. Woo boy. This is a sight to see. You receiving me? Copy that. Beginning exploration of the sphere. Everything's built to a much bigger than human scale. Much of it rusted over. Giant glass capacitors crackle with trapped lightning. No sign of life on or presence. Suit sensors say air is ozone, nitrogen, a few unidentifieds, and okay, found a door. Power still seems to be on. Looks like it's expecting some kind of signal. All right, so we can send it a signal. Both of these are pretty much gobbledygook. We'll just send the first gobbledygook message. Wait, there's a computer terminal here, translating everything I say into symbols. It looks like it might be compatible with our technology. Someone come and collect it and then try and send a signal to me. So we're going to go ahead and install this. We could abort if we didn't want to, but we'll install. Have you installed it? Send the code. The door is curling open like a flower made of aluminum. Walking through it, endless tunnels leading in every direction. But soft blue lights are heading to some kind of control center. There's a cradle in the middle of the room attached to the ceiling by wires. There's something inside it. A glowing cylinder. I can't explain it, but it calls to me. So we got ourselves a keystone, our souvenir from the sphere. Acknowledged. Should be able to free it with the plasma torch. Got it. Wait. The hum in the air is gone. The sphere is shutting down around me. Returning to the ship while I can. Okay, well, we now have the keystone. We'll also note in the upper right that we're being jammed. Whenever that happens, that means I cannot leave until I clear whatever is jamming me. So to do that, I just have to leave the debris field. So far, debris fields are the only things that I've seen that jam, but there may be other things that do that. Looks like we're almost free here. There we go. And once I leave the debris field, you see jammed goes away, and now I can leave. So we just hold in the A button and right trigger, and off we go. All right, well, this game is very story-driven, and that's a big element of the replayability, too, as you really don't know what you're going to encounter out there. So our first objective, let's go ahead and take a look at that in the database. So this is, in my opinion, kind of the tutorial aspect of the game beyond the initial tutorial. So you're going to be doing mining, repairing, and refueling. Our scanners show valuable resources on the nearby planet. We can harvest them and use them to fix damage and refuel both our fuel and EM tank. So we need to drill for metals on the nearby planet and scoop gas on the nearby planet. Doing those things, we can use the resources to either repair or refuel our ship. I've kind of talked about that a little bit in my first video when I did my introduction. Other things we can see here is the open the galaxy map. This is going to be the same map we saw when I did the jump, showing how far away we were. And we can see that in true scope. First off, we're in the Emerald Nebula. So these are going to be the stars within the Emerald Nebula. We can see our jump distance by this gray circle. Anything within the circle we can jump to. And we also get an indicator once we jump there, how far we could jump once we're there, which is really awesome. I like that they did that. It gives you a good way to be able to figure out how to path any direction that you may want to go in. If we zoom out, we'll see the total galactic map. And if we go all the way to the top right, this is where Earth will always be. This is Earth right here, which we can zoom in on. So we're a very, very far distance away, which is why this game is called The Long Journey Home. It takes quite a while to get through all of this. All right, so let's go back in and continue our exploration. Now we're currently in a system within that nebula, and we would want to jump to be able to select a new system. But first, we're going to need to get to this planet that's nearby. It's the one that is currently being circled in red, just like when we were going to Mars. Any objectives will be highlighted in red. We do need to slow down, which is why that is in red, letting us know that slowing down would be a good idea. We might have enough of a path to lock in our autopilot, so let's try and do that. It looks like it worked. Okay, so this is the planet that's selected. We see all three resources here. We have phosphates, aluminum, and hydrogen. Now, I mentioned earlier in my introduction that you have the three types: green, gray, and blue. Green being your exotic materials, gray being your metal, and blue being your hydrogen. The actual resource itself will differ depending on the planet, and those resources cannot intermingle. And I kind of discussed this as well. So right now, if we look at our hold, we'll see that we already have hydrogen. Well, there's hydrogen on this planet, so that will be able to mate together. But if it was a different gas, let's say helium, they would not be able to be in the same cargo container or row as the hydrogen. So that's one thing that you kind of have to keep in mind. You need to keep likes with likes. Another thing is the rarity. Common, versus uncommon and rare, that's going to have an impact on how effective the item is as well. So common items are not going to refuel or repair you, as well as less common items. So if we look at this, we have uncommon, uncommon, and common. So hydrogen's common, that's not going to refuel us as much, but aluminum and phosphates, those are less common, so they will actually give us more bang for their buck. All right, just like the tutorial, we need to land, but first, before we do that, let's take a look at the planet itself. So surface is rock, gravity is low, subarctic, convection is light, atmosphere is thick, hazards none, 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 harmless. So we should be okay with this particular landing. Now, there are going to be a number of weather and planetary effects that can make a mission hazardous. Fortunately, we have a low gravity, so it's going to be fairly easy to stop our momentum. And as I said in my introduction, usually stop your vertical speed before you consider stopping your horizontal speed. So we're going to start with the hydrogen. That's this gas plume here. All we have to do to suck it up is be in the gas and then hold in left trigger. And as we do that, we're going to need to maintain our presence in the air. We'll suck it up, and every so often we'll get some hydrogen. All right. And that's pretty much that. We also have a percentage and a bar. As that bar goes into the red, we'll start encountering danger to collect. So we already were in the red. I think we back off. We are going to want to go to aluminum. That is kind of a tricky grade. I might use down thrust to anchor me to the ground. That is a trick that works, especially if you're experiencing some effects like wind. One way to anchor you down, if you don't, you'll slide around, is using your right trigger reverse thrust. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, make sure I'm locked down. And see, I started to slide. So I'm going to hold in my reverse thrust. And again, the bar is going to indicate my danger level of mining. This is kind of how deep do you want to drill. I'm starting to take damage now that I drill. I want one more. There we go. That's going to be good enough for me. I have to keep in mind the fuel that we have. So we don't want to run out of fuel here, and mining does cost you fuel. Now we can always just go back up and come back down. Now anything you've already mined, whatever level you were at as far as your danger level for mining that, is going to maintain itself. So keep that in mind. Okay, this is not nearly as bad of a slope, so we should be able to maintain. Let's start mining. I'm just going to grab a couple of these, I think. Okay, that's probably good enough. Let's get out of here. Make sure we have enough fuel to lift off. Fortunately, the gravity is low, so it's not going to be too hard to get out of here. As a matter of fact, I'm not exactly sure why I didn't go into orbit there. Okay, there we go. Because I thought we passed the line. All right. So that was a pretty successful mining run. We got 3 different types of resources. Fortunately, the hydrogen will stack with the hydrogen we already have, so that's not really too much of a problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. We do see another planet in this system. Now that's going to be an ice planet, as opposed to a rocky planet like this gray one. I believe the color, blue planets are going to be gas giants. It's going to give you an indicator of what type of planet it is. Usually the size is going to give you an indicator of what gravity you might expect on that planet. So larger planets tend to have higher gravity. Gravity is going to be something that's going to add risk into your mission. All right, so right now we have mining repairing to do if we want to complete our current objective. So all it's saying to do is to go to our resource screen and use the resources we mined to do system repairs. So aluminum, we can see by the blue bar how much that would fill us up. Same thing with fuel. So with the aluminum, we have 2 choices. We have repair our lander, repair our ship. Same thing, well, no, that's not true. There's only one choice with the gases, and then with your EM refinery, the exotic materials, you're going to just be refilling your jump tanks. Right now we're full, so there's no reason to do that. I think I'm going to hold on to my resources for now, because I see no need to use any of them. We have a full row here with our hydrogen, so I'll just hold on to that for now. And then the aluminum, I don't think we're damaged enough to really take advantage of its rarity, so let's wait until we take a little bit of damage, then I might use it. If we need the space, I might burn some of these just to get them out of our storage, but for now, we're just going to go ahead and close. Oh, I guess it is going to want us to do that to do our objective. Well, we don't have to do it when they tell us to do it. I want to go to the other planet here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave orbit and a direction that gets me facing them. And then we're going to use the gravity to slingshot me a little bit. We're going to need the correct course. Now I'm going quite fast towards it, so I'm probably going to need to slow down. And we also have to keep in mind that I'm going towards the star. The gravity well of the star will increase, and you can tell how the gravity well is affecting you by the grid that is underneath the ship. So right now, green, we're not having a lot of gravity affecting us right now. As this gets red and the grid gets tight-knit, you'll have more and more gravity effects. So right now, we're being indicated that we're going too fast. We're going to slow down. Okay. And right now, you see how the grid is kind of altering a little bit? That's indicating that the gravity well is in place for this planet. Let's slow down slightly. Let's see if our autopilot can lock in. Okay, so yet another harmless planet. We have ice. Gravity is average, so a little bit higher. Temperatures Arctic. We have moderate convection and atmosphere. Hazards none. There are structures here. Wreckage. Well, that sounds like a task for our archaeologists. So now we're going to go in, and we're going to go to the quarters, and we're going to assign our archaeologist to the lander. You can only have one person in the lander right now, as far as I understand, but maybe there's a possibility of getting other landers in the future. All right, let's go ahead and go down to the planet. I do want to check. I've never really taken a look at asteroids. I really don't know what there is to offer there. That is kind of close to the star, though, so I think I'm just going to leave it be. But let's go ahead and land. Now, our archaeologist is probably not going to be as competent with the lander as our pilot is, but we want to be taking a look at the wreckage. So, just going to go ahead, kill a lot of my vertical speed. And you know what? I might just go directly to the wreckage, which is right here. Now, just like with the base on Mars, we're going to interact with this. Go ahead and lock her down and visit. I've landed at the wreck. Looks safe to board. Let's go ahead and explore. I'm not sure what this is, but it looks like it's in good condition. We'll need to bring it on board to analyze properly. So it's a humming device, unknown technology. We'll go ahead and take it. Got it. Returning to the lander. All right, so that's it for that mission. Unless, of course, we want to mine, which I don't see a reason why not, because we have plenty of fuel. And we could probably do with more metals. Now, I didn't pay too close of attention on what type of metal they are. Ooh, and this is going to give me, I think, a good opportunity to show you one element of the game. The fact that the surface can be liquid. I'm not sure if it's going to be anything of depth, though. We'll see. It is a cool element to me. Okay, so no, we're not having to do anything in the water. Okay, this looks like, is that magnesium? I'm not that familiar with my periodic table, but I'm going to guess that's magnesium. No, it's not mercury, because mercury is Hg, if I remember correctly. Yeah, magnesium. Good. I at least remembered that much. So very quickly, our bar is turning. Ooh, and our pressure swing vessel is leaking. Oh, I collided a little bit there. Let's use our reverse thrust to get back down. Okay. And let's see what we have over this way as the green resource. I figure we might as well mine it as long as we have enough fuel to do so. Now, I don't know if I can get away with mining this too much. Okay, that's good. That's good enough for me. I want to get back with enough fuel. And we got 3 of that item. So, pretty easy mining. As a matter of fact, there probably is a lot of that particular resource. So, might even be worth going down again. But I have to keep in mind the cargo capacity of my ship. And the fact that even at this stage, because we have a number of different resource types, we may not actually have storage on our ship. So let's take a look at that now. So as we can see, we actually have to keep some of those items back behind on our lander, because we don't have any rows of cargo that are non-devoted to a resource to put them in. So that is okay. We can just have them in our lander cargo, and they can still be usable. More than likely, I'm going to get rid of these phosphates at some stage. And I guess just to do our objective, we'll use some of this hydrogen. And I'll use some of this magnesium to repair our ship. So that gets rid of the objective. And I think we're good to go, unless we want to go back down with the lander and get some more of these carbonates. So I honestly don't see a reason why not, unless we're afraid we're going to take damage. I should probably switch my pilot, as there's no reason to have our archaeologist to go down there now. So I'm going to go ahead and land again. Now, the one thing I'm not positive on, if your lander fuel is refueled by your main fuel, that may very well be the case, and if in that case I am wasting fuel to do this. But we're still gaining some resources, so it's not a complete loss. We do have to also take a look at that item. Now, one thing I am already failing to do, I said kill your vertical momentum before you kill your horizontal momentum. I kind of ignored that a little bit there, and that could have cost me dearly if this was a little bit stronger gravity. So always kill your vertical momentum first. That way you don't smack into the ground. Because you're going to have a lot of downward vertical momentum when you enter orbit, or from orbit. Okay, we're just going to land back and get these carbonates, because it seemed like there was a fair amount here. Oh, we shift a little bit. Let's just make sure we're anchored. May have some wind here affecting us. Okay, we're already taking damage. Well, you know what? That's fine. We've got 4 slots of the carbonates, so let's just go ahead and get out of here while we can. All right, I think that was a very successful first sector. So now I think it's time to jump out of here. We don't have really anything else to do in this system. As a matter of fact, this is kind of a sedate first system for us. So now we have to make a decision on where we want to go next. Let's go ahead and open up our galactic map under the database. Okay, so our current objective, our long journey home begins. The sphere's hold on us is gone. We can leave the space graveyard and the system whenever we want. Which is good. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So this looks like it has a star and a large gas giant. So we're going to have 2 competing gravity wells to deal with. Maybe pretty challenging. And we have 3 planets and an asteroid. Over here we have 2 stars, a red giant and probably a yellow dwarf. And then we have, well, something and a planet. That's something maybe worth taking a look at. Just a red giant here, star, large gas giant, and a couple planets. And then another yellow dwarf, an ice planet, and a normal rocky planet. We also get an indicator of what kind of resources we can expect in that system. I very much want to go to this system. There's not going to be a lot of resources outside of metals, so we've got iron and platinum. Platinum being rare, and this may be a challenging system to navigate in, but that little purple squiggly, that might be something cool, so we should probably check it out. And it's going to get us going in a direction over this way, probably. Maybe I should scout a little bit further ahead. Now, we don't really know what we're going to encounter. You know what? Let's just go to the station and, or whatever it may be, and figure out from there. Oh, well, first I have to leave orbit and jump. Okay. So, just like I've done before, all I have to do is leave orbit and head in a direction away from some body that, you know, we may collide with. So, this is probably a good time to leave orbit. And we just need to get out far enough that I can do this. and we'll jump. Now, one thing you'll notice is our hull is shaking there. Every time we jump, we take damage. Just because our jump drive is not really functioning as it should. I think that damage is a little bit more punishing on Rogue difficulty, not so punishing in the current difficulty we're in. So we're going to jump to the Pollux system. Now, one thing that was talked about in the stream that I did is that the names may be copies of real star names, but the star type might not actually follow the real one. You have children too, Mr. Castillo? How do you endure being so far apart that your heart just wants to break? One thing I kind of have picked up about Alessandra that it wasn't really covered. Ooh, we've got a ship here, so let's go ahead and see what they're all about. I write to them every day. I send them into space with the trash and pretend that they get home. That they would be read if they did. Okay, we are being sucked into the star, so move away from that. Okay, that guy just flew right past me, unfortunately. To encounter them, I actually have to get close enough, and then if I hit the X button, that encounters them. Unfortunately, they were flying too far away from me for me to be able to encounter them, but they might be slingshotting around. I'm gonna get over here. This is gonna be our other star, isn't it? Oh, here they come. Again, too far away. So again, these gravity wells and how you interact with them, you can slingshot. So you see how we slingshot around? Here we go. Here's an opportunity. There we go. Interception. All right. I have no idea what we're going to encounter here. And that's kind of the beauty of the game. It does look like another vessel. All right. We've got a call. Let's answer it. All right. This is Wolfax Knight Shirak, and he is of the Wolfax race. Right now, his weapons are off and his shields are off. Wolfax Knight Shirak, hail! What a strange vessel. You face Shirak, Wolfax Knight of the Blue. Will you spar, that we can see each other's souls in glorious combat? Well, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea, but you know what? Why not? I have a feeling that these guys are men of honor, and turning him down would be an insult. This seems to be a common greeting of their race, and this is a big element of this game. The alien races you encounter are set. They're always going to behave the same. Which alien races you're going to encounter is different every time. You're not going to encounter every race that's in the game. There's a certain number of races in the game. You're only going to encounter in your game X number. I think there are some things that don't necessarily count as a race that you're going to encounter possibly every time. But I think this is a good example of an alien race that is one of the group. This is one I have no familiarity with, so I have no idea how to behave. I'm just going to guess. Ha, such spirit, let us... Wait. Yes, I have a much better idea. You strike me as creatures of honor. I beg a favor. My squire grows overconfident. He has yet to taste real combat. He feels he knows everything there is to face in this galaxy. A new alien... Ha, yes, well, you be my dragon and shake him from his complacency. All right, so we're being given a mission here. I think it's wise we accept. Capital, do not fear damaging his ship. It is but a thing. If a few hours contemplation in a cold escape pod can teach him what I cannot, a new vessel will be money well spent. All right. So we have ourselves an objective, and this guy's just going to jump away, and then we, of course, have to leave on our own. But I think this is a good point to go ahead and put a cut in the video. So we have some objectives. First off, he's given us an objective to go find his squire and teach him a lesson. But we also have a new objective, Safe Haven. So we have the location of this alien's race, a starport and gate. So if we take a look at the, possibly, is it locations? Okay, actually, where I am, I can't take a look at the galactic map, but it would show up here. But we do get an idea of some things that are going on that we are aware of. So we know that there is a starport in Pollux, where we are, and we also know that Squire Mole, the guy that we have to go find, is also in Pollux, the star that we're in. And then we also see home on here as well. All right, well, with that being said, the safe haven is going to be, oh, it says in the system at the starport. So we're going to need to, if we want to do this objective, go to that starport and check it out. So that's that purple squiggle line that we came into the system to check out. I suspected that it would be something like a starport station, something that would give us an alien encounter, and that's indeed what we found. So in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.